We survived 100 days on one block in hardcore Minecraft. You may have seen other 100 days one block videos, but this one is a little bit different. This is because we're doing it with 2 people instead of 1. And we're also doing it in hardcore mode, so if either of us die once, it's all over. Will we both be able to survive 100 days on one block? Keep watching to find out. Day 1 was here, and we both really didn't know what to expect for the 100 days to come. We started off by figuring out how to break the first block without falling off, because if we fell off now, this was the entire video over before we'd even started. And finally, we managed to time our jump perfectly and break the first block. Soon after, we both had a block to stand on, and we could just break the block safely. We then managed to get our first bits of wood and our first sapling. And of course, we crafted up some slabs and extended our island. It was getting a little bit less scary. And then out of nowhere, our friend the pig spawned. I think we decided to name him Donald. And it was nice to have another friend. We continued to break the block and expand our island. We also began construction on a nice little pen for Donald. Then a very loving chest appeared, so we broke it and we had already completed the first phase of the block. Now it was on to phase 1, the plains phase. Just before it went dark, we planted our first tree and we're happy with the progress so far. We decided to rest overnight and discuss what our 3 goals for these 100 days would be. And by the morning of day 2, we had our 3 goals. Our first goal was to complete all 10 phases of the block. This was going to take a lot of breaking. Our second goal was, of course, to kill the Ender Dragon, which, to be honest, we had no idea how we were going to do. And our third goal was to get an iron farm going, as otherwise iron would be a very hard resource to get. And with our 3 goals in mind, let's hop into day 2. On the morning of day 2, we completed Donald's pen, and we were getting some weird blocks like melons and clay. We then proceeded to expand our tree farm, and we got a friend for Donald. And of course, we decided to name him Donald's friend. We're so good at naming things. Donald's friend didn't really want to go in the pen, but eventually we managed to cram him in there. Our island was looking a bit weird, but it was starting to come together. Later on in the day, we got our first cow, and I was very tempted to murder him. But I decided not to, as if I did, gamers would probably murder me. This was also the day our first tree grew, which was very exciting, and we were happy to get the wood. We also got some seeds and made a nice little farm to plant them. By the end of day 2, we had a small pen filled with lots of animals. So we decided to chill with them overnight to keep them company. If this video gets 100,000 likes, we'll do 200 days. So make sure to like the video if you want to see 200 days. Anyways, on with the video. By day 3, we had enough saplings to fully complete our tree farm. So naturally, we decided to extend it so we could get more trees in the future. I also decided to craft up some melon seeds and plant them in our new farm. We also got a berry out of a chest, and I was so excited to plant it that I planted it in the wrong place. And kind of stupidly, I just broke it without thinking, and it didn't drop. That was the only berry we would ever get in this one block world, so that was not too smart. And GamerZ wasn't very happy with me. And then later on in the day, I threw an egg at the cow for no reason. And sadly, we didn't even get a chicken out of it. The rest of the day was filled with breaking blocks for me, and GamerZ was breaking leaves. By the end of day 3, our tree farm was getting pretty massive. And by that I mean we had about 12 trees. So not that massive, but pretty massive. On day 4, GamerZ egged the sheep. We danced on the crops to make them grow faster, although GamerZ did take it a bit too far. We then proceeded to absolutely melt the block and cram more and more chickens into the tiny pen. After all that chicken cramming, we decided it was time for an upgrade. So I crafted myself up some nice wooden tools. We then extended the farm, and I spotted a chicken trying to escape. So I gladly pushed him to his death. Bye bye chicken. The night of day 4 was spent chopping down trees, getting some wood. Day 5 started off eating some melon in front of a bunch of sheep. And this was actually the first time I had eaten anything in this world. We then decided our pen was looking pretty overcrowded, so we made the choice to make a new pen that was a lot bigger for all of our animals to enjoy. But we ran out of dirt, and whilst breaking the block to get more dirt, a block upgrade happened. And before we knew it, we were on to phase 2, the underground. This phase came with a warning about monsters, and we got very scared. To save our dirt, we put a grass block in the pen and filled the rest of it up with wood, because at the moment we weren't too worried about it looking good. That was for later. We then struggled to get all the animals into the pen. It literally took all night, and we just managed to do it. However, some very annoying animals that didn't want to go in at all just had to be murdered. And after cleaning up the old pen, that was day 5 done. I started off day 6 by making some baby chickens. Then we harvested the crops and got our first carrots, and wheat. Then finally we mined our first pieces of stone, and before I knew it, I had a stone pickaxe. We then continued to mine through this phase of the block and got some ores along the way. Then out of nowhere, a wild mushroom spawned, so we tried to cram him into the pen, but a cow escaped. However, I was soon able to get him back into the pen. With this mushroom, we now had unlimited food, because we could milk him with bowls to get some mushroom stew. After that, we celebrated by making a full set of stone tools. We also planted some spruce trees that we got, and lit up the island a little bit. But this creeper didn't care at all. Luckily, I was able to stab him in the head with my axe and save GamerZ. Day 7 started with a zombie surprise. So to prepare for future attacks, we decided to mine the block from a longer range. This would save us later on in the 100 days. A few blocks later, some rabbits spawned, and one of them quickly killed themselves. The rest were killed by us. We then proceeded to trap the next lot of rabbits in our little cage. But one annoying rabbit didn't want to go in, so I introduced him to the void.
This is Sparta!
After having a quick look at our tree farm and breaking some more blocks, a mushroom spawned. And we already had 2 in our pen, so I just murdered this one. Then the scariest thing that could possibly happen, happened. When we were just casually mining the block, a creeper spawned right on our faces. It was so close to blowing up, and it gave both me and GamerZ a heart attack. Let's just say we screamed very loudly. But luckily we managed to get away in time and take him out. We finished off the day by lighting up the area some more and checking on our trees. On day 8 we wanted to work on getting some beds. So I got to smelting the iron we had and made some shears. And then it was time to make the sheep naked. And by the end of my sheep shearing spree, we had 2 brand new comfortable beds. And we were very happy to finally be able to sleep. We then noticed that all of our trees had grown, so we set to work on chopping down the trees for the rest of the day. And when it turned night, we slept in our new beds. On the morning of day 9, we noticed one of our big epic spruce trees had grown. This would give us a lot of spruce wood, which we planned to use to build. So I set to mining the block, and GamerZ got to work chopping down the tree. In one of the chests, we got an empty map. And when we used it, we realized our island was in a bit of a weird shape. This was completely by accident, but yeah, we definitely have to change that at some point. And 1 block later, we got another upgrade. We had reached phase 3, the icy tundra. So we got prepared for the cold and started mining. And straight away we realized we were going to get a lot of snow. Just before bed, GamerZ stuck the map to the chest, and then it was time to sleep. Day 10 started with us meeting a bipolar wolf that couldn't decide if it wanted to be angry or happy. So I fed it some raw beef and left it alone. Then some strays nearly killed me. However, GamerZ was able to get a bone out of it and tame the dog, so now he could be happy all the time. A few blocks later, I crafted the first ever iron pickaxe on this world, because I had a hunch that diamonds would be just around the corner. However, I did not expect these weird white flying foxes to spawn and try and kill all of our animals. They were definitely not diamonds. One moment he was still, and the next he was flying over attacking all of our animals. We didn't even know these were in the game, and they nearly killed everything. But we were finally able to catch it and kill it before it killed any more of our animals. These weird white foxes were so annoying. However, it wasn't all bad, because the next thing that spawned was a polar bear, and we trapped it in our pen. I then decided to give it a ball of clay for being such a good boy. Also, comment down below some names for the polar bear. And if you guys want 200 days, we'll make sure he has his own house. Day 11 was a simple day mining the block, milking mushrooms, getting loot, and dealing with unexpected visitors. And by that, I don't mean the pesky white little foxes. This was also the day I got myself my first dog. And you know I've got to call him Mark. This dog is Mark reincarnated in this 1 block world. Later on in the day, I made a baby dog with my dog and GamerZ dog. Then sadly, a pig escaped, but we managed to trick him back in with a carrot. On day 12, we noticed most of our trees were fully grown. So we spent the entire day whacking spiders into the void and chopping down trees. Of course, we also had to replant them. Hashtag Team Trees. A few blocks into day 13, a monster party happened. This is when a range of monsters spawn and tried to kill us. We were easily able to take out all of the enemies, but sadly, all of our dogs were killed, including Mark and including the baby dog. We were very sad about this, but we had to carry on. However, things weren't all bad, because later on in the day, I managed to kill a stray and get myself an iron helmet. Then came another attack of the annoying white foxes. This time they were much more organized and jumped straight into our pen, killing all of our rabbits, and some of our chickens as well. We were praying for this phase to end so we wouldn't have to see the white foxes ever again. After killing the white foxes, we were still sad from the loss of our dogs. But a new dog spawned and I tamed it right away and named him Mark version 2.0 in honor of the first Mark. And soon after, we got some ice in a chest, which meant we could make an unlimited water source. We were very happy about this, as this could make our island very safe. We got to work and quickly made one and collected some water in our bucket. Day 14 was off to a good start when I broke the chest and got an upgrade straight away. GamerZ and I were now on to phase 4, the ocean phase. And with that news, we made some shields because we were very scared of trident guys. All it would take was a few hits with the trident and this world would be over. Later on, when me and GamerZ were expanding the farm, I threw an egg at him and a chicken came out. I tried to kill it, but I kept breaking crops, so I decided to let it live for now. Then we made a permanent water source. I then refreshed the map and it now looked like a drill. Tell me if you see it in the comments. Later on, we imprisoned Tony the Turtle. He asked me for some fireworks, but sadly, I didn't have any to give him. At least not yet. The next day started with getting rid of a row of trees, and then, out of nowhere, I found diamonds. So I quickly mined it, and then we both celebrated. I did contemplate making a shovel with it, but I decided not to. Then I murdered a squid, and we found out that the trident guys were very chill. In fact, all they wanted to do was throw themselves into the void. I nearly died to a creeper, however, we did get a pet fish, so I think it was worth it. Then some guardians followed the trident guys into the void. But then we got something even more valuable than diamonds. The rare and amazing sea pickle. So we planted them in our water source to keep them safe. And to finish off the day, I got poisoned and then found more diamonds, so I didn't mind. On day 16, we woke up to full chests. And we didn't like how messy it was. So we decided to build a place for a storage system, and we opted for a circular shape. We decided that circle was going to be the main hub of our base, and we were going to build our main house off of it. I also noticed that the baby chicken had escaped and somehow got himself in this situation, so I just left him. For the rest of the day, we were figuring out how to do the storage system, and then just before bed, GamerZ killed a spider with a hoe. GamerZ and I spent all of day 17 arguing about how to do the storage system. Overall, it wasn't a very productive day. And then we spent all of day 18 sorting out the chests. Plus, our island was looking a bit weird on the map. The morning of day 19, GamerZ was building the house while I was finishing sorting the storage system. We then went back to breaking the block and watched some dolphins commit suicide. We then had to take on an elder guardian and even a turtle. And then it was time for another monster party. This one was a lot scarier, so we just ran away and a lot of them ended up jumping off on their own anyway. We then spent the night trapped in our house by a horde of mobs. There was no way we were leaving that house. On the morning of day 20, we were still trapped in the house. Then, a thunderstorm happened, and we had about 20 creepers stopping us from getting to our beds. So we came up with a plan to bridge over to our base, because all the skeletons had burnt in the daylight. So we bridged carefully and quickly, and narrowly made it to the trees. A skeleton was trying to shoot us off at the last possible seconds, but we just about made it. And we decided it was a bit too risky to go down and try to sleep, so we just waited out the storm on top of the trees. On day 21, we were focusing on cleaning up our base. We had a lot of creepers that weren't despawning, so we decided to build really far away to make them despawn. And finally, it worked, and all the creepers were gone. And that was day 21 done. Nothing really happened on day 22. We just cleaned up the bridges and cleaned up our island a little bit more, and GamerZ spent some time working on the house. Oh, and I accidentally dropped my helmet in the void. On day 23, we watched some fish die, and then we watched some more fish die. After that, it was back to breaking the block. We were getting a lot of strange blocks that were clogging up our chests and were being very annoying. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that we got a nice little turtle egg. The next day started with me getting 2 buckets of fish and GamerZ getting a trident. I'm pretty sure he got the best of that chest. But I wasn't too upset as we had just got another upgrade. So I put my fish next to the sea pickles and was excited to find out that we had reached phase 5, the jungle dungeon. A few blocks into this phase, we got ourselves some parrots, and we were very happy with it as neither of us had really had a parrot before. So with our parrots close by, we continued mining. Shortly after, some Vexes spawned. They surprised us, but we managed to take them out. We then thought it was time to get some armor, so we made ourselves some iron chest plates. Then sadly, I caught this ocelot being weird next to my parrots, so I had to take him out. Sorry, comment section. For the rest of the day, I trapped a panda, and then got poisoned by some stupid witches. If you didn't know already, I hate witches. On the morning of day 25, a horse was trapped in our pen. Then we got our first sugarcane and some more diamonds. But little did I know, on day 25, I would nearly die. Firstly, GamerZ just about saved me from a monster party. Then a witch not only nearly poisoned me to death, but also poisoned all of our animals. I hated that witch especially. I was grateful to see the sunrise on day 26. On day 26, a witch murdered my parrot. I was very happy about this. Very, very happy. The rest of the day was made up of watching a parrot and a Vex fly away, and me murdering GamerZ parrot. Not gonna lie, I thought he would fly, but he just continued falling to his death. And later on in the day, we managed to get ourselves some more parrots. That night, I slept next to my parrot. The next day, we got a block upgrade into phase 6, the Red Desert phase. We then went on to get some emeralds, llamas, and some foxes. One that killed himself, and one that killed our rabbit. On day 28, I decided to build some safety walls around our island. Meanwhile, GamerZ was working on the house. And both these processes dragged over into day 29. On day 30, Owen was born, and GamerZ killed my only parrot. I wasn't very happy with him. Then a pillager came and awkwardly stood on the block, so GamerZ murdered him. Next, we trapped a guy called Arnold, and our animal pen was looking pretty full. Day 31 started with us defeating a terrifying monster party. Then Irina joined Owen, and I gave them some gourmet rotten flesh to celebrate. GamerZ then bred the animals while I watched. Afterwards, I took a moment to gaze at how rich we were. Near the end of the day, I let Veronica have a nap in my bed, and Emma made herself invisible. We used the next day to sort out our chests. Lol. And on day 33, we were greeted with 8 bottles of enchanting. But then it was on to the nether phase. So we prepared for the worst. We were very scared of the nether phase because of all the fiery mobs it could bring. And because most of our base was made out of wood, which is very prone to burning. And because we were so scared, we decided to build a protective barrier around the block. It was ugly, but it would do the job. So with our barrier in place, we proceeded to mine the block. And managed to get some fancy achievements before bed. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I made a diamond pickaxe. Day 34 was even more intense. Some wither skeletons nearly killed GamerZ. And all I could do was watch. Luckily, they were trapped by our barrier, so they could only hit him once. And then we were easily able to kill them. In fact, we killed quite a few mobs like this, including the scary Blaze. We also watched the gas suffocate to death. And at night, I was in bed admiring my achievements when this horse trampled me. Day 35 was more of the same until we found lava, which meant only one thing to us. It was time to make a cobblestone generator. So we got to work. And by the morning of day 36, we had our very own functional cobblestone generator. And we decided that we were going to need a lot of cobblestone for the rest of these 100 days. So we decided to take it in turns mining cobblestone over the next few days to see how much cobble we could get. We started off day 39 by showing off all the cobble we had collected. I don't think we'd be needing cobble anytime soon. But after that, things didn't really go to plan. Long story short, a monster party happened, and some blazes managed to burn our entire tree farm down. We were very sad, but we saw this as an opportunity to convert our oak tree farm to spruce. On day 40, I was woke up by being hit by a zombie, so I whacked him to death with my pickaxe. We spent the rest of the day planting epic big trees, lighting up our new tree farm, and saving GamerZ's life. Silly GamerZ. And just before bed, we fought off a small zombie invasion. The next day, GamerZ worked on a house, And I worked on a nice place for the villagers to stay, so that they didn't have to be trapped with the animals. Oh, and I also threw an empty bowl at a turtle and made him very happy. We spent the entire of day 42 chopping trees. On day 43, I whacked some spiders into the void, and then I continued to work on the villager hut. On the start of day 44, I was AFK to go to the toilet. Then when I got back, I accidentally made this patch in the carrots. Don't tell gamers. For the rest of the day, I added more details to the hut. Then I mined 3 pieces of cobblestone, and finally, I finished the hut. The next day, I spent the day moving the villagers in, whilst gamers put the finishing touches on the house. And by the end of the day, it was finished. On day 46, I sheared some sheep, and then got attacked by a skeleton. Afterwards, gamers and I did some interior decorating, and I pranked gamers. Day 47 started off by getting jump scared by a creeper while I was eating some mushroom stew. It definitely wasn't the best start of the day. After that, we both got back to mining the block, and I had the exciting job of mining obsidian. So exciting. However, gamers nearly got sniped by a ghast, so that was pretty exciting. And because I'm a good friend, I saved him. The next day, I decided to show you what it would look like if you were a piece of obsidian. Then we killed some scary blazes, we got some cool stuff, and then it was upgrade time. And we were on to phase 8, the idle phase, which meant we were only 2 phases of completing one of our goals. We spent the rest of the day messing around with bees and not really knowing what we were doing, but it was kind of fun. On day 49, gamers and I watched the villagers make a baby. This baby then nearly escaped into the void, so we had to save him. We then watched the baby play with its mom, Irina, and we thought it was kind of cute. Then I started a fist fight with gamers that lasted until the nighttime. When we came outside to the villager hut on day 50, there were now 2 babies and an iron golem on the roof, which we thought was pretty normal. Afterwards, an evil skeleton tried to ruin our water source and tried to expose the sea pickle to the air. And because I'm such an amazing person, I saved the sea pickle and put it back into its natural habitat. Also, seeing the iron golem earlier in the day reminded us of our goal of getting an iron farm. So we built a platform up of the cobblestone generator and tried to get this zombie to pick up something so he wouldn't despawn. But he wouldn't do it, so we left him to burn in the sun. The next 5 days were spent AFK watching iron farm tutorials, killing iron golems by the villager hut, and trying really hard to get a zombie to pick an item up. For some reason, none of them wanted to do it, and we had a hard time getting zombies to spawn. But by the night of day 55, we finally got a zombie to pick something up and got him into our iron farm. Now all 3 villagers and the zombie were in their separate pens, and we just had to construct the rest of the iron farm. So that's what we did for day 56 and most of 57. And by the end of day 57, the iron farm was complete, and we had unlimited iron. We were very happy to complete one of our goals, and now there was only 2 more left to do. Everything was great until tragedy struck on day 58, when gamers turned our only lava into obsidian. I was not very happy with him, but we had to come up with a solution. So we got prepared to go to the nether. We got ourselves full iron armor with our newfound iron, and crafted up a bunch of food. Then the next day, we built the portal and prepared to take the plunge into the nether. This nether was hot and very hard to navigate. It took us days of traversing the harsh landscapes until we ever found a fortress. During that time, we collected lots of lava and survived on any food sources we could find. We also found an abandoned portal and decided to complete it to see where we'd end up. And it turns out it just spawned you in the middle of nowhere, so we went back to the mission. And after 5 days of tireless searching, we finally found the fortress. We fought our way through countless enemies, collecting blaze rods, and we even got a witherhead. We had some close calls, but luckily we were able to survive. And on day 65, we returned home with all the blaze rods we needed. When we got back on day 66, I replaced the lava in the iron farm, a creeper tried to kill me, and I made some more changes to the iron farm. The next day, the iron farm was working perfectly. So to celebrate, we made ourselves full iron tools and proceeded to use them to break the block. But little did we know we were about to be attacked by a horde of angry bees. I don't know what we did to them, but they really wanted us dead. So we just ran away, and when we returned, they were gone. Also, gamers wanted to keep these slimes, but I murdered them. And to finish off the day, we got a skeleton horse. I don't know how it's alive, but it looks cool. I don't have much notes for day 68. All I really did was kill some phantoms and fix the iron farm again. Basically, we had a lot of problems with this iron farm. It was day 69, so we had to work on a special surprise. It was a lot of work, but we got it done, and this was the result. I think it turned out pretty nice. Day 70 started off by gamers getting attacked by some angry bees. Then we conquered the easiest monster party ever and proceeded to go ham on the block. Then the phantoms were being really loud and annoying, so we shut them up. The next day we broke the block a few more times and got a saddle and an upgrade. Also, the phantom noises had annoyed me so much at this point that I got angry enough to kill this donkey. That poor little donkey. After saying sorry to the donkey's family, we were on to phase 9, the desolate land phase. However, we decided to leave the block for now and come back to it a bit later. Meanwhile, I nearly killed gamers. And I put a horse in the villager hut. I then made him watch the villagers make another baby, and he was not impressed. Then finally, in the evening, I took Mark II for a walk to the cobble generator. The next day, Mark II had an idea to build a second cobblestone generator so we could get cobble twice as fast. So that's exactly what we did. And when it was finished, we wanted to try it out, so we spent the next 3 days mining for cobblestone. At the start of day 76, we had a full double chest of cobblestone. We definitely wouldn't be needing cobblestone anytime soon. Then whilst gamers were sorting out a new storage system for us, I made a nice little oak farm. Then I finally fixed the damage that a creeper caused ages ago. By nighttime, the new storage system was coming together. Then on day 77, I built a birch farm opposite to my oak farm, whilst gamers completed the storage system. Now we just needed to move stuff in. And that's exactly what we spent days 78 and 79 doing. Oh, and we also labeled our chests because we're big brain. On day 80, we were building a roof on top of the storage system, and then a thunderstorm happened. So I took Mark II to shelter in the house with Gamer's parrot. Then Gamers and I finished the roof at night. And here was the end result. On day 81, we realized we needed paper to get a full enchantment table, and that we should have planted our sugarcane ages ago. But it was better late than never, so we planted some sugarcane and made a farm for it to grow into. I also decided to make a separate pen for some cows and drag them into it. This would make breeding them a lot easier. However, some of the cows were very annoying and didn't want to go into the new pen. I really wanted to murder them. The next day, I did a spot of farming, then I wasted a lot of time trying to transport these baby cows into the cow pen. All they wanted to do was run back into the normal pen. But I finally got them in there, and then I bred up the cows. And to end off the day, we made the area look a little bit nicer. Day 83 was a pretty nice day to craft some bookshelves. It was also a nice day to spend 20 seconds mining obsidian. Day 83 was also the day I bought some arrows from Irina, and the day that I tamed this cute little fence cat. I then spent the rest of the day rescuing my cat from weird places, and just before bed I put him on a shelf. We spent the next 3 days mining the block whilst waiting for our sugarcane to grow. In these days we killed an evoker and got a totem. We also killed multiple supercharged creepers and barely defeated a monster party. During this time we also bred the cows, as well as having a close call with the Vex. And finally, we saw some paralyzed cave spiders. Then on day 87, we reached phase 10, the end, which meant the dragon was only one phase away. On day 87, the iron farm was doing bits, and the sugarcane farm was fully planted. Now all we needed to do was wait for them to grow. The only bad thing on this day was getting attacked by an army of little purple bugs. The next day, a shulker attacked and made a donkey fly, like in Shrek.
Hey, I can fly!
He can fly!
I can fly!
Afterwards, a purple bug army broke my helmet. And we faced the hardest monster party ever. But luckily, we managed to get through it. On day 89, there was a flying mushroom, and then a flying LockDownLife. We also got some ender pearls, and even an eye. On day 90, we were so close to the end that things were getting serious. We now had enough pearls for the end portal. And speaking of the end portal, it spawned in and nearly killed me. But it wasn't all bad because we had completed all 10 phases of the block, meaning we could tick another goal off our list. But there wasn't much time to celebrate because we had to prepare to fight the dragon. And that's what we spent the next few days doing. On day 91, we made an enchanting table. And I also caught gamers pretending to be a cat. As well as that, day 91 was when the extinction of the cows took place. Gamers told me to stop, but I couldn't stop myself. And I left only 3 lucky cows alive. On day 92, we made a brewing area. It just needed a few more nether warts. The next day, we finally had enough sugarcane to get a full enchant table. So we made ourselves a diamond chestplate and diamond sword each, and started enchanting. And by the end of the day, we both had some decent enchants. On day 94, we replaced the oak wood around the block with some nice spruce wood. And saw a cat in a boat. And by day 95, all we were waiting for was potions. And for that, we would need the nether wart to grow. So we decided to work on a little project. And finally, by day 97, our project was complete. And if I were to say one sentence about our project, it would be, did you know only 12% of you are actually subscribed? So if you're not and you've made it to this part in the video, please consider subscribing, it would help me out a lot, and let me know that you like watching these kind of videos. But anyways, on to the last few days. On day 98, I made some gapples, and then we spent the entirety of the day and night watching the nether warts grow. But on day 99, they still hadn't fully grown. So to kill the time, gamers and I had a race to the end of the island and back without touching spruce wood. Oh yeah, and this iron golem escaped and built his own iron island. Yeah, just don't worry about that. Anyways, the race was very close, but I won because luckily the soul sand slowed gamers down. Afterwards, the nether wart finally grew. So I brewed up some slow falling potions, whilst gamers got us some strength. And by the end of day 99, we were ready. So here it is, day 100. We had one goal left to do, to kill the Ender Dragon. So we quickly placed the eyes in the portal and took the plunge into the end dimension. Straight away we jumped onto the mainland, splashed ourselves with slow falling and then built up to the obsidian towers. We then began sniping all the crystals, so the dragon couldn't regenerate. Shortly all the end crystals were gone and it was now just us and the dragon, and hundreds of endermen. We splashed our strength pots and went in, but the dragon did a lot of damage to me, so I had to back out and gapple. The dragon was left with only a quarter of its health, and when he came down next time, he wasn't so lucky. Gamers delivered the final blow, and there it was. We completed all 3 of our goals, and we'd survived 100 days in hardcore Minecraft on one block. All that was left to do was to collect the egg and admire our beautiful island. And remember that it had all come from one block. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, check out GamerZ different perspective in the description down below. I'll see you next time and goodbye.